7 out of 10 men have a certain level of porn addiction and pornography has got to a point that it's hurting our brain. It's actually changing how we think and how we relate to our partners sexually. In the deepest level, it changes our identity.
After all these years working as a reboot strategist, what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions most men have when approaching their recovery?
That's a good question. Yeah. I think one of the biggest misconception is that like whenever a lot of guys they see like maybe like our YouTube channel, right? Or even like our content, just spreading awareness about porn addiction is that they think that, oh yeah, we're anti-porn. Well, I think there's a few things. It goes back to some of the limiting beliefs a lot of guys have. I think the first one, it's not a big deal. It's okay. My life is not affected, right?
Yeah.
I have my job, I have my wife, I have my kids, right? I have my church, and nothing in my life right now is falling apart. I
Yeah.
have everything going for me, right? And this could happen with like, just it doesn't have to be like someone who's super successful or super rich. It could be just a regular, you know, men who are living just their lives, who are in a median, who makes the median income, right?
Hmm.
And the average income, and everything is good. But except this is like a little secret that they don't know how to actually share. And if they share it, they would joke about it with the friends, right?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I used to do that. I don't know about you, Gaspar. Have you done that?
Yeah. Yeah. I did that too.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Like we would just we like sometimes we even exchange. I used to do that. Unfortunately, that was the truth. That I
Yeah.
used to like, hey, bro, like this one looks better and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but at the end of the day, that normalcy of sex, right, and pornography, has got to a point that it's hurting our brain. It's actually changing how we think and how we relate to our partners sexually.
Mm.
And in the deepest level, it changes our identity. First of all, one of the first identity, it changes our sexual identity, right? First of all, the sexual identity is not just like how we relate to others, it's also how we relate to ourselves, our own sexuality.
Yeah.
Then, and that's usually formed when we were like, what, 2 or 3 years old, when we were very, when we started actually having a concept of like me and
Yeah.
others,
Exactly.
right? And then we also see like, oh, women and men, they look different, right? Physically,
Mm.
literally from the outside, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? Most men are usually fixated on what? The difference in terms of
Exactly.
body parts,
Yeah.
right? So,
Okay. So, yeah, I remember a time where, I had some friends back in the 2010, something like that. And this guy, he had an entire collection of CDs with porn, and he knew all the actresses' names. And you would go to his house. He was just looking at porn, watching porn, but not jerking off. Like you'd knock on the door, he would open the door, and you'd see porn playing on the background. He says, "Come in. Do you want a tea, a coffee, something like that?" He was just watching porn like normally. And I used to, I was in that environment with him. We played in a band. So that was like very normal for me. I never thought like, yeah, this guy is addicted to porn. I thought like, oh, he just enjoys this. There's nothing wrong with that. And that mindset is what actually got me into trouble later on.
okay.
Right. Like when I discovered that I had an addiction, I don't know if if this guy who was my friend was actually addicted. Of course he was, but he never thought about that. But I realized that I had a problem with that, and being in that environment was just not beneficial for my recovery. But I was chatting with a guy earlier on today. He said, like, I struggle with this on and off. So right now I'm not struggling. So
Yeah.
right now it's not urgent for me.
Yeah.
Right. What would you say to a guy like that?
Well, why? First of all, right? Do you speak to the guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If this is someone who actually, first of all, any of the men who have reached out to us in one way or the other, maybe you've seen our ads, or if you've actually just saw our YouTube, or even listened to our podcast, or just one of the posts that you saw on Instagram or Facebook, right? And you decide to click on it and find out more information. There's part of you are curious of like, hey, you're probably thinking like, what if I can actually end this behavior, right? Or what if I can control it? Maybe like you might not be ready to end the behavior yet. What if I can control it, right? Yeah, it's okay, you know, like I understand that if this is not urgent for you right now, if this is something that you already thinking about it, there's probably parts of your behavior that is no longer healthy for you. So it goes back to if I were you, Gaspar, I would just let him know that, you know, bro, like you just gotta really be honest with yourself. Like, is this something that you are you truly happy maintaining this kind of behavior? It could be once a month, it could be twice a month, it could be once a week. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter how long the session is. I know like some of you would actually say, "Oh yeah, it's only 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15." You know, like it doesn't really
Yeah.
hurt my life. Actually, as a matter of fact, yesterday I was in a podcast. One of the guys, he was just so adamant that's what he does, and it's okay, and his wife is okay about it, right? You know,
Mm,
and and there's a but there though, because he actually says the but himself, but now you know the category that he's watching now? He's watching women dressing up and dressing out, like undressing.
I didn't know that was a category.
I know,
You
yeah.
know.
I had no idea that existed until last night, bro. And I was just like,
What?
well, it goes back to the butt, right?
Yeah.
You know? And if you are someone who just found out about, oh, this might be a problem, this is your first time ever thinking about maybe controlling your porn behavior, not quitting it, controlling your porn habit, watching porn, you know, maybe like you might be doing it once a week and you want to cut it down to like once a month, and if that's healthy for you, go for it. I would say my suggestion to you is do it as an experiment. It's okay that you are not committed to like, oh, let me get serious about this, but
Yeah.
do it in a way like try to control it, even just with just willpower, and see how you feel in a couple of weeks, and actually really be honest with yourself. Do you actually have control of this? If you're able to actually like control it on your own, well, guess what, it's probably not very serious, which is okay,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And then ask yourself, has your life improved when you stop watching porn? Is your mental focus increased? Has it increased over the weeks, right? You know, actually just stop it even for 30 days, or even like, you know, 60 days or 90 days, however that long that you want to test it out for an experiment. Because guys, okay, life is a whole goddamn experience,
Mm.
right? And even I have things that I'm still figuring out myself, you know, even though I've been actually rebooted for a long time, but there's still certain parts of my reboot I'm still try to be aware of it and understand. And I'm in my maintenance reboot stage now, right? It's been a while. It's been years since I even thought about watching pornography, right? And for some of you, you might not be able to relate to that, but I've been where you at before. I understand where you're coming from. I understand how hard it is, right? You know, to like imagine a life without porn. But just for a moment, just even close your eyes as you're watching this video, right? You know, and this quick clip where imagine you don't have this behavior at all, right? How will you feel? Just imagine that, right? And a lot of guys, you know, you probably reach out to us. They probably reach out to us, right? You know, Gaspar, because maybe the wife doesn't like it. I think
Yeah.
there's a ton of guys, right? Yeah.
There's a ton of guys like that. Yes.
Yeah. How many do you think like actually in the group? Because well, you
I
spend a lot of
think,
time in the group.
yeah, I live there. So I would say that probably 50% of the guys who reach out to me
Mm.
are desperate to end their behavior because their wives are just not happy with it at all. In some
Mm.
cases, they're about to leave,
Yeah.
and that means, divorce, taking the kids with her.
Yeah.
It's a very complex situation, and sometimes, I've had cases where somebody reaches out to me
Mm-hmm.
before all that happens, but then
Mm-hmm.
they say like, no, 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 I'll just work this with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to actually do anything about this. I'll just abstain and we'll be fine. But
Mm-hmm.
then they reach back
Mm-hmm.
2, 3 months later, and then everything's already messed up. So yeah, there's a lot of
Mm.
married guys in the group. just like that.
Yeah, going back to your question earlier, where like for guys who's like, if let's say your wife or if like there's a part of your life is already falling apart because of this behavior, man, but maybe like you're managing it, like your wife is still cool, like you're not getting a divorce or whatever the case is, right? Don't wait until the other, the other shoe to drop. Do not wait. Do not wait until that rock bottom. I think like a lot of these recovery groups, some of them they wouldn't say that. Oh yeah, just get to the rock bottom first, and then you have enough motivation to quit. Don't do that, right? Let me give you an example, Gaspar. Actually, earlier this morning, I actually just had a pretty long conversation, with one of the newest member, of the reboot implementation program, right? I'm not gonna name names, of course, because privacy is our highest priority, in our programs. And for any of you who reaches out to us, your information is safe with us, right? Because this is something that we've struggled with, right? I've struggled with, and it's not the easiest, right? To talk about it, and we do appreciate your trust. Going back to this guy, man, he was having a panic attack in our call, in the evaluation session, right? I had to calm him down. I have to help him to really stop thinking about the what ifs. Okay, yeah, actually, so he's been like addicted for well over like 15, 20 years, most of his life. He's in his 30s, and then I think it was 34, right? And then he recently started watching hentai. You see,
Mm,
yeah, and we already know hentai is a very very dangerous category of pornography, and which a lot of guys, oh yeah, it's just cartoon, it's not even real human being,
yeah.
not hurting anyone, and then you could justify that. But bro, just be real to yourself, right? As an Asian who grew up with hentai, I grew up with hentai. Yes, I said it right, and it's like when I was younger, I think it was still like kind of okay. It was borderline okay because I was still young. But
Yeah.
if you're a grown ass man still watching hentai, bro, like just be careful, man. You know why I say that? Stop watching hentai. Why do I say that? Because hentai is the way that they draw it is usually looks underage. They look very, very young.
Yeah.
So it's gonna train your mind to actually
Yeah.
go for underage pornography, which is illegal in most countries. And a lot of pastors, a lot of well-known men, right, have actually gone down, that route because of this. And then if you're waiting for that shoe to drop, right, don't wait. Take action now. And for those of you who are already thinking about that, actually, like this brother, who actually just committed to one of our programs, right? And for him, it was an easy decision, because it's just like he definitely did not want to wait for another shoe to drop. For him, it actually he was way too panicked about like the
Yeah.
what ifs.
What
He
ifs?
yeah,
Yeah.
he was so afraid of like being found out or whatnot. He already deleted his account or whatnot. Actually, he downloaded a game that has that on Steam.
On
Okay,
Steam.
on Steam, guys. Be careful of
Oh,
what you download on Steam, guys. Right? I love playing games. I'm a gamer at heart. I don't have time to play games anymore, but back in the days, I used to play a lot of games. Right? So, but this
Jesus.
this brother, he was so like thinking about like, oh, what if this, what if that, what if my family start judging me, all of this stuff, right? I have to just pretty much like help him to calm him down. And I told him, hey bro, like, and actually he asked me, he requested if let's say like, if it comes down to it, like, can you like spend a little bit of time talk to my family so they can understand? And I told him, yes, I got you, man.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we do, man. We can talk to your spouse, if it matters, your family,
Yeah.
right? If like having these tough conversation, a lot of our reboot strategies, we're very experienced in that, right?
Yeah.
And but yeah, don't keep thinking about the what ifs. It hasn't existed yet. Just focus on the present. The future is not even here, right? Right now, at this moment, me and Gaspar talking, right, is the only moment that is real. Actually, whatever we said in the last second, it's already gone. Whatever we're about to say, it hasn't. It's not. It doesn't exist yet. It exists as it goes. Time keeps flowing, right? So you gotta find a balance. Don't beat yourself up to the point that you cannot take action, but at the same time, have a certain level of sense of urgency. And then for those of you who reaches out, right, to us, you probably like it doesn't matter how old you are. You might be 18 years old, 19 years old. You're still young. You're still getting into your young adulthood, right? That's actually the perfect time for you to actually start thinking about this seriously because you are a
Yeah.
fucking adult. Do you want to continue to be a boy?
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. We have one of our newest clients who's actually 18, and
Mm.
man, this guy just came in and started, doing the work. I'm truly amazed
Hmm.
at this generation because there's so much awareness. Yeah, it's, porn is accessible, very accessible. You can find it everywhere.
Oh
But
yeah.
these guys are realizing,
Hmm.
okay, I'm still young. I was a boy yesterday. Tomorrow I'll be an adult. Best thing I can do right now is to just not go down that rabbit hole,
Yeah,
and they just commit to it.
absolutely. And unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that who are actually not 18 yet, who are underage or in your teenagers years,
Yep.
because unfortunately nowadays, pornography, the average age of exposure of pornography is actually 6 years old, Gaspar.
What?
Yeah.
Six?
Yeah, they're kids, man. They're kids. Because
Jesus
like
Christ.
the most unmonitored devices are pretty much their friends' devices at school. You see, and it's just everywhere. Actually, as a matter of fact, if you're actually on Twitter, if you create a Twitter account, right? Actually, one of my friends, he doesn't watch porn. But he just told me, he just literally showed his Twitter account to me. Bro, I'm not even trying to watch porn, but I'm just on my feed. There's porn right there. I was like, what the fuck?
I didn't know there was porn on Twitter. I don't have Twitter, but
X,
like
yeah.
you can
I
watch
mean, they call it X,
actual,
it's X now,
yeah,
right? Yeah, uh huh.
well, yeah. So you can watch actual
Yeah,
porn, like
actual porn, like just literally
hardcore.
uploaded it right there. You know, like how we have like feeds on our Facebook.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah, you're just scrolling through the random feeds or whatnot, and I have to also catch myself sometimes because I do interact with a lot of men on social media and Facebook. That's where we're able to actually reach out to men who needs help, right?
Mm,
And that's why in our team members, we also have our own self care routine to make sure that we have strong boundaries with how we use our phones and
yeah. Oh
devices
yeah.
and
Oh
our,
yeah.
our social media. And for me, actually, I think it is also probably because of algorithm and the people that you follow on your Twitter, on your X, right? You might not watch it, but if your friends like to watch
Yeah.
porn,
Yeah.
it's
It's
gonna feed into that algorithm too, you see. So
yeah.
be
Yeah.
careful who you're following or who you allow to follow you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's so like anyone can go on Twitter and just see hardcore stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's like you could be at the dentist, scrolling on your phone, and then
I was shocked when I saw that. I did not know that.
whoa.
I know. So that's why, guys, gentlemen, if you are watching this right now, and if you know who you are, who actually see all these different things on X, you're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to a porn. I'm not watching porn, but you are, bro. Stop
Yes,
lying
yes,
to
you are,
yourself,
man.
man. Stop
No, you
lying to
gotta be
yourself.
honest with yourself.
Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah.
going back to what I was saying earlier, it's for guys who are underage, right? You might be like in your high school, 15, 16, 17, and you're aware of it. You actually have the desire to change, okay? Of course, because you're not 18 years old, you know, you can actually join our Rewire Desire program. We have a course that is actually for men, who needs it, right? So you can actually check that out, right? That's something that we can definitely help you with. But if you want to actually apply for our any of our coaching program, you have to be at least at the minimum 18 years old. It doesn't guarantee you to be accepted to the program because as a matter of fact, we do prefer work with men who are at least 25 years old, right? Because of the
Yeah.
prefrontal cortex. I think JK explained it a few times. The prefrontal cortex is a lot more developed, right? So they actually more likely to stick to like something that they actually commit to. However, we do make exceptions, for any men who are, between the age of 18 to 24, if you actually show us in your application and the way that you carry yourself that okay, you know what, this gentleman, this guy is committed, he's ready to change, we'll give you the opportunity, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Guys, we have a lot of youngsters in our group. Please reach out. Like, don't be afraid. Some guys, they lie in their applications. Like, yeah, they put like I'm 30, but they're 17, 16,
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Reach out because we have a lot of free resources that could help you. And we cannot work with you, but we can definitely point you in the right direction anyways.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And of course, once you turn 18, just go ahead and actually book a call with one of our team members.
Yeah.
Either myself, Gaspar, Han. We also have David as well, and also some of you might actually speak with some of our female team members, MJ and also Angel. These are a group of team members that are really amazing and they're really good at what they do. So
Absolutely. Do
yeah.
not be afraid.
Yeah, yeah. We don't bite. We don't bite. Okay. We'll keep you accountable though. We'll
Oh
only
yeah.
share the truth to you. We'll tell you
Oh
exactly
yeah.
what you need to hear, right? To change. Because like the fact that you even reach us out to us, there is a part of you want to change. Just be
Yeah.
honest with yourself, man.
I'm prepared. Some
Yeah.
guys, the other day, one of our clients reached out to me and he said, "Look, I'm on a ride. I don't know what to do." And I said, ask him, "Have you been using the tools?" And he said, "No, no, I have not been using the tools." So I just sent him, 2 minute voice message, just yelling at him. And he said, "Oh my God, thank you so much. This is just what I needed."
Yeah.
Sometimes guys need, somebody who can call you out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
don't, you
We
don't
all
need to
need a
get to
little
that
tough
point.
love, man. We all
Yeah,
need a little
absolutely.
tough love. Yeah.
Some feedback. It's funny enough. I've been chatting with some guys who are like in this state of denial, but and I started wondering, why somebody reaches out to me, talks to me for a couple of days on the chats, and we get on a call, and then it comes to a point where they've shared everything. I'm fucking ready to do this. I want to do this now. But then, a couple of days go by, and they just come back with a different energy. Like, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna start a new job. I have to move out next week. There's always something they have to do
Mm.
before committing to this. And what my belief is that this is their addict subpersonality that's trying to convince them, like, no, bro, you got this. You can wait a couple more years. Nothing wrong with that. You don't need to do this now. And why do you think that happens so often?
Because it's an addiction.
Thank you.
It's a
Yes.
fucking addiction. And only that, it's so pleasurable. Yeah? For you to jerk off. Come on. We've all
Yeah.
know how pleasurable it is. That's the reason I went like down there with that voice.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
pleasurable. Guys, we know it, man, okay? We've been where you at. I used to be addicted to porn to the point that like, it was not all the time, but yeah, there were some weeks, man. It was just daily, bro. It was insane, man. Like I definitely did not recognize myself. And actually, this is a little bit of a funny story, This is for like guys who might actually have like something, in the past, right? When I was younger. This was like in the early age of me exposing to porn, right?
Mm.
That I was exposed at the age of 11 years old, and it was at my what's it called that my cousin's apartment actually. No one was there. I was bored. I was 11, right? What did I do? I looked for tape, VHS tape. I was looking for
Yeah.
like a movie to watch or something, right?
Mm.
And I saw one, and of course, a lot of these tapes they don't have labels or anything like that, right? So I just put on one, and I just like, what the heck it was? Like I had no idea, and honestly, like that image of that tape, it's still in my mind until today. I still remember it. It's
Oh
crazy,
yeah.
and
It is.
and now that I'm a adult right now, I'm 35 years old. I learned a little bit more about my preference in terms of like, the kind of girl that I'm attracted to. I have zero attraction to that one. That like the first exposure. I had zero.
Mm.
But guess what? I still remember it, man.
You still remember it?
Yeah.
I too remember the first time I watched something like that on a VHS
How
too.
old? How old are
I
you?
was like I was like 9, and it was not porn. It was like more like erotic movie, and
Oh.
my cousins were watching it like with their parents, just
Yeah.
on the next room,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I just opened the door and it's just saw that, and I still have that memory too, like in
Oh,
my
you
mind.
kind of walk into them watching. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were
Yeah.
like, yeah, no problem, because it was not hardcore, but
Yeah.
I still remember that first scene. I remember that entire
Bro.
day. That's
It's
crazy.
it's a powerful thing, man. Sex is a powerful emotion. You know,
Mm,
it's a powerful desire. That's why it's so important for us to learn how to regulate it.
yeah.
Because when you get to a certain level of extreme of your neurotransmitters and hormones in your brain, you're gonna fuck up your brain. You are, literally, right? You
Yeah.
know, and we're not making this up. This is something that has really been backed by so many signs. And
Mm,
then now, like a lot of these like other podcasters, YouTubers, just in recent years, right? You realize that, oh, Gaspar, they only started to talk about it. That,
yeah.
oh, hey, this is a problem. Like it's like the new thing. No, we've been doing this for the last 12 years, man, guys.
Yeah. 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 And there are studies far before that. Like there are books on this. There are studies, psychology, psychiatrists. This is not new to science. We
Mm-hmm.
know this, and it's not just a psychological thing. It's not like, oh, just my emotions. It is. It's in your brain. It changes your neurochemistry.
Yeah, physically and biochemically and physiologically,
Exactly.
right? So, and when your brain actually change in the physical level, guess what? It changes the way you think. It affects all of your decisions,
Mm,
including the choice, the people that you choose to date, including the kind of relationship I'm talking about, like friendship that you choose to keep, right? Including even jobs that you choose to keep or you choose to actually keep pursuing, right? At the end of the day, I would say, Gaspar, this is something I think a lot of guys need to hear this, okay? I think most of the guys here in this group, man, or who have actually seen our content, you are selling yourself short. Chances are you're not maximizing your full potential. You are
yeah.
not. You are not. If
Yeah.
you are already maximizing your full potential, you're not watching this video, man. The fact that
No.
you're still watching it until this minute,
Yeah. Yeah. We were having a discussion in the group with a guy. He said,
mm,
it's hard for me to quit porn because every time I'm bored, I turn to, an
mm,
unhealthy coping mechanism, be that video games, series, or porn.
yeah,
And he said, like, I'm afraid of what life could look like without this. And I told him, like, bro, if that's because you're not living up to your full potential, if you were living a
hmm,
life that makes you feel proud, that's aligned with your values, and that actually
yeah,
makes you have to live up to your full potential, you not have time to be bored.
yeah, yeah. Boredom is a symptom of you not really pushing yourself enough or your mind not focusing on the right thing. And not only that, you probably don't have a lot of belief that you can achieve whatever that you truly desire secretly. You know, all of us have hidden desires, okay? You know,
Yeah.
and like those, like those goals that you set, because it's so big, it's so fucking big that you don't know if you should talk to anyone else about this, okay? Guess what? This is all we do. We talk about huge goals in our organization, okay? If you're a man who actually are ambitious and you have that drive, reach out to us. We believe in the man that you are capable of being,
Yeah.
right? We do not believe your past. We're not going to judge you by your past or even the struggles that you actually currently facing right now. And that's why you actually reach out to us to get help. And guess what? At the end of the day, your results is our highest priority. Why? Because our mission is to help not just one man, not just 1,000 men, 1,000,000 men,
Yeah.
right? We want to help like so many men to the point, and we cannot do it by ourselves. How do we achieve that, Gaspar? Right? We achieve that by having a lot of our clients. That they just transform their life. Actually, as a matter of fact, there's quite a few clients. He just invited one of his brothers to join our program.
Mhm.
About a year ago,
Yeah.
and guess what? Both of that client, he's actually take on to the next level,
Mhm.
right? In his career, right? Of course, I'm not gonna mention specifically what he
No,
does
no,
and
no.
whatnot.
But
Be-
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
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 you
yeah,
know
yeah.
who I'm talking about, right?
I know
And
that's
also both of them actually gone through a lot internally and emotionally, and I'm
yeah,
so fucking proud of them, man.
yeah,
And guess what? That's what we want. We want men come to us, they transform to the point that you would tell everyone in
yeah,
your community so that we can help you to influence your community in a positive way. Because if this is something that you're struggling with, chances are there's, I think, what was the average again? Seven, yeah, 7 out of 10 men
7 of
have a certain level of porn addiction. I'm not saying that it's like high level or low level. There's 6 levels of porn addiction, right? And if you're not, if you're like confused of like, what are you guys talking about? What's the levels, right?
yeah,
You can always let us know. We'll send you a video and you can
yeah,
check it out, right? And then you can know your levels, or you can just have a conversation with us. We know exactly which level you are, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.